Welcome to the Blue Mouse Knits. Today I'm going to teach you how to work a 3-needle bind off. This is a fantastic way to join 2 sets of live stitches. If you want your seam to be invisible, you want to align your 2 panels so that the right sides are touching and the wrong sides are facing outward. You can use straight needles, but I'm going to show you circulars. So here I have my 2 panels and the right sides are on top of each other, kind of sandwiched together, and the wrong sides are facing out. And a 3-needle bind off is named this way because you will need a 3rd needle of the same or similar size. So if you have a piece of yarn attached, go ahead and use that. Pick up and start working with the attached piece of yarn, whether it's on the back needle or on the front. But if you need to attach a piece of yarn, you can just wrap it around a finger on the opposite hand that you knit with. Grab your 3rd needle. We're going to essentially knit 2 together. So we're going to go into 1 stitch on the front needle and 1 stitch on the back needle and then knit them together. I kind of hold my needles together a little bit and then grab my yarn in the back. So you go into the front loop of the first stitch on the front needle, just as if I was going to knit it normally. With my 3rd needle still in here, I go into the first stitch on the back needle as well, as if to knit. It should look like this. And then we just yarn over, and we're going to pull the yarn over through both as if we are going to knit them together. So pull it through the back one, then pull it through the front one. Now I think the trickiest part here is to slide each of those stitches off the needles. So slide it off the first needle, then slide it off the back needle, being careful not to drop any other stitches. And now we do that again. So we go into the first stitch on the front needle as if to knit, and then go into the first stitch on the back needle as if to knit. Yarn over, and you can kind of split them a little bit to make this easier, but pull that yarn over through the back needle, then through the front needle. Slide those off. I usually like to go one at a time so I don't miss anything. And now we do a standard bind off where we pull this first knit stitch over the second and off. I like to use the back needle to kind of pick it up and pull it up, over, and off. And your repeat is to just knit 2 together. So knit 1 from each of these needles and then bind off 1. So again, just into the first, into the second, yarn over. And once you get comfortable with it, you can kind of pull through both at the same time. And then slide off, bind off 1. And I like to kind of loosen up my stitch a little bit so that your seam is not too tight. Into the first, into the second, yarn over, pull through, slide off, and bind off. And you just keep doing that until you have only 1 stitch left. Just remember that when you have 2 stitches on your 3rd needle, you're going to bind 1 off. Your final stitches might be kind of stretched out if the tails are not woven in, so you can just kind of pull on the tails if you need to, but then just go into the front loop of the first needle and of the second needle, yarn over, pull a loop through, slide off, and then you can use that needle to bind off the final stitch. And then I like to kind of pull the stitch out a little bit. And then with your final stitch, you can either pull it out completely or pull the tail through it to tidy it up. This is what the seam looks like from the wrong side. Because our wrong sides were facing outward as we worked it, your seam is now hidden on the wrong side. If we flip it over, this is what it looks like from the right side. This would be a nearly invisible join if you use the same color yarn as your project. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you'd like to see more video tutorials, you can find hundreds on my YouTube channel. And if you're interested in knitting patterns, I am also a knitwear designer. You can find my patterns on Etsy and Ravelry under the Blue Mouse.